Hello, welcome to the next interview from the Cloud Report. I'm Friederike and today I'm talking with Karsten from Cloudical. But please introduce yourself and tell us about you, your position and Cloudical.
Hey, good morning. Awesome that I can be with you here in this interview. My name is Karsten Samaschke. I'm a founder and CEO of Cloudical. Cloudical is a Berlin-based, how shall I say it, former consultancy. No, we are still a cloud-native consultancy. But we recently introduced something that we feel like might change a little bit the game in regard to how Kubernetes and how open source software stacks are to be perceived. So I'm a little bit unsure whether to say cloud native consultancy or cloud native product company, or something in between.
Okay, the change seems to be very recent. Why do you change from a consultancy into a product or combined company, and what is your product?
Okay, well, first of all, let me give you an overview where we've started from, because I feel like that makes a lot of sense. As a cloud native consultancy, the thing that we basically did over the past 3 years since we were established was basically, besides what's in the name, consulting, was basically setting up integrated cloud native software stacks, usually and typically based on Kubernetes, OpenStack, and then with additional toolings and additional frameworks and additional open source projects such as Cloud Foundry, Prometheus, and so on and so forth. So we basically did a lot of things that we repeatedly did with different customers. And we always found it quite interesting that they basically have the same challenges and the same needs in regard to what is to be done. Obviously, there were customizations, but basically it was mostly like, okay, we need to set up that kind of ecosystem. We need to customize it. We need to get it up and running. So please help us there by, first of all, doing consultancy with us, explaining and working out what makes sense, what we should do, how a cloud native strategy could be tailored to our needs. And then secondly, help us setting it up, help us securing it, help us making it work. So that is basically where we started. And we still do that day in, day out, because it's our core business. But we figured in regard to cloud nativeness and in regard to agility and in regards to automation of things, there needs to be something different. There needs to be a different way, a way that ultimately leads into a product. And that is the reason why our company and a lot of talented people within our organization sat down and thought, okay, let's do things a little bit differently. Obviously, it's well-earned money we make when doing the same thing over and over again in regards to consultancy, in regards to helping organizations to set up things. But it's then basically money that is thrown out of the window by those organizations if we manage and if we are able to set up a stack. And that is exactly what we did. We defined a stack based on Kubernetes. So we thought Kubernetes is basically the lowest level of that stack. It's, if you want to say it that way, our operating system. And then we added a lot of infrastructure as code, a lot of customization to that stack. And that stack, and that is very important to us, is completely open source. We are just using open source vanilla products. And we basically added an installer, taking away complexity and allowing for rapid rollout, and an app store, which ultimately allows to create some sort of an ecosystem around cloud native and open source software stacks. So we basically put all those things together. There went a lot of engineering effort into it, and we managed to ultimately end up with our first product. And that first product is called VanillaStack. Vanilla, in that VanillaStack basically references the fact that all the projects we are using are vanilla and community projects. And we as Cloudical, we open source that stack because obviously we are using open source software. So it is so obvious for us that we open source everything we do there. And we provide technical guidance, and we provide professional support around it. So you basically have the same as with some other software vendors in regard to the functionality, but you have it all based on open source technology. You have it all well integrated with each other in an easy to use package. And you have it basically based on where you get the most support from the community. So VanillaStack is a complete open source stack based on Kubernetes, including projects such as OpenStack, Cloud Foundry, Prometheus, Grafana. We are supporting different container technologies such as Docker or Creo. There's a lot of additional things in there that basically make life easier for the ones that are using it, because it takes away all the complexity. It is still based on open source. It is open source itself. It is the vanilla stack of products, and it is a commercially available product as well.
Why it is so important for you to use only the open source project tools?
Actually, it is not important. It is the first and foremost important thing. So it's way more than just being important. It is at the center of everything. We strongly believe in the power of open source. We strongly believe in the power of communities, and we strongly believe that you need to be able to choose what you are using. We believe in the power of competition, and we believe in basically giving full transparency and ensuring trustworthiness on everything you do. So that is very, very central. So I wouldn't even say it is important. It is the centerpiece of everything there. And it's not just the centerpiece of everything in regard to VanillaStack, it is the centerpiece of everything we do with Cloudical. So open source, community, and giving transparency is to us so important, because if you think of what you are doing with those kind of infrastructures, you are running your most important and most business critical workloads on them. You are handling your most important and most secret data inside of those stacks. We feel like it is, absolutely no point of discussion to have the whole stack being open source, being transparent, and being shared with everyone that wants to look into it and that wants to contribute on that stack. We feel like there's no room for discussion at all. So we don't want to have any kind of vendor-specific things inside the core stack. Obviously, you can add additional software that might be vendor-specific, and that is then pretty much okay, but is your choice then. We don't want to have any kind of intransparencies in there. So transparency, trustworthiness, and basically security are, to us, undisputable at all. So that's why it was not even a thought whether to do that open source or not. It was set from the very beginning.
That sounds very conclusive, but where do the stack run? Is there any, do you need an own cloud, an own data center?
Basically, insisting on the whole and complete transparency, you would definitely go into your own data center. You would even create your own data center to run it. But for most organizations, that is perhaps not the way to go. So we decided to basically make the stack agnostic of any kind of environment. So VanillaStack will be able to run pretty much everywhere. Wherever you are able to have containers, you will be able to run VanillaStack. So we do not force our customers to decide for a specific cloud environment. You can run it pretty much on any cloud environment, regardless of hyperscalers such as AWS, Azure, or Google, or the smaller ones such as OVH, A1 Digital, or whichever cloud fits you best. So it's able to run there. If you don't want to go into some sort of a public cloud environment, well, no problem. Run it on your private cloud environment. If you already have some sort of OpenStack infrastructure there or some sort of VM-based infrastructure, perfect. VanillaStack is able to run there. And if you don't feel like that kind of cloud thingy is the thing you want to do, at least not as the underlying foundation for your most important business critical software stack, you can even run it bare without any issues. The only requirement actually we have is run it on an ecosystem that is supporting containers. At best, a modern Linux, that would be awesome. And other than that, we just give recommendations there. So our recommendation at the moment, for example, is that you run it on top of Debian Linux, but you are pretty much able to run it on top of every Linux that is able to run Docker or CRI-O workloads. So we are completely open to that. And we don't want and we don't think into making it some sort of vendor specific. We simply don't want to do that, because to us, that kind of transparency, that kind of control that you want to have with the stack does not end basically at the stack's borders. It should include the whole ecosystem you're running in it. So run it wherever you want to run it.
But how do you ensure the security? You mentioned it before, and some voices are arguing open source is not secure because everybody can see, or can hack, or
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Tell me about the security approach of the VanillaStack. Not maybe not in general.
No, it is a multi-level kind of security approach we are having there. First and foremost, when we started working on VanillaStack, we included our own security experts in the team. So we basically stick to the best practices that we give our customers as well, which basically is, don't start with security at the end. Do it from the very beginning. Include those guys in your teams, because if you don't do it, it might become literally expensive to ensure security later on. But that's not the only layer we are basically having there. The other layer is, and that was the point where I said, don't get me started. The other layer is that we are exclusively and only working with open source vanilla projects. And that gives you another level of security because, and yeah, you were completely right, security issues are visible within those projects, but they are fixed within those projects first and foremost. And the community is very, very much sensibilized in regard to security. They want to ensure that their products are secure. Mm-hmm. So we utilize their knowledge and we utilize their experience, obviously. We definitely contribute back. So if we find things there, we will definitely contribute back. We will definitely make them aware because we are part of the community then again as well. And the third level of security and in regard to security is basically we speak about security, we care about it, and we want to ensure security on every level. So to us, it is very important to have a stack that is secure on its own, working with a community that sets security is the most important aspect of our products. We are choosing the products basically based on their track records. We are actually including with later iterations specific security frameworks within VanillaStack, then again open source security frameworks, because it's the same for the whole stack as well. For the security layer, we need to have transparency. And lastly, to us, security by obscurity and security by not making our sources available is definitely no option, because security has to do with transparency, has to do with trustworthiness, has to do with where and how you want to run your workloads upon. So to us, that is, again, undisputable. So security is there from the beginning, and it is a priority to us.
You mentioned that you are distributing your developments back into the communities. Do you also want to include the communities to develop the VanillaStack?
Obviously, to us, VanillaStack is not a proprietary product. It is a product based of our experiences we had for the past 3 years in, day out, integrating software stacks with each other. And we, as you mentioned, we want to contribute that back. And we want to have our own community in that regard, not our own in terms of it is our community, it is the product's community. So first of all, we open source it. We make it open to the public, not just in regards to, I don't know, sharing code with them. No, we actively ask the community to collaborate and to contribute and to make it better, to improve it, and to basically make it their product. And secondly, we plan to donate the base software stack to a foundation. So what we want to do there is we want to set up a foundation, and we make that foundation basically the one who is running everything there. So that gives another level of participation. That gives then again another level of transparency, because the product then will still be a product, but it is an independently run product. And it is a product that is developed by a not profit-oriented entity. So the corner cutting that you usually have when doing software development, like, yeah, it's a little bit too expensive there. That corner cutting will be probably be avoided. At least it will, minimize. Will be minimized to a perhaps required level of corner cutting. So we want this stack to be something that is way more than just the sum of all of its components. It should be more. It has the potential to be more, and we want it to be more. So, to the community.
Yeah, that sounds very generous, but
well,
where's the point of Cloudical?
I don't want to interrupt you, but the point is to the community, please contribute, make it your product, shape it. Cloudical, as a company, we are obviously profit-oriented. Would be bad and would be a negative thing if we wouldn't be profit-oriented. The point for Cloudical and our position in regard to VanillaStack is basically that we create an ecosystem, right? VanillaStack is an ecosystem on its own, and there is enough room for us, for other partners, to contribute there, to grow there, and to basically create an even bigger ecosystem around that. And such an ecosystem, such a community-driven project can create so much impact that there will be enough room for everybody who wants to contribute, to have enough room for contribution, to have enough room for profitable business, and to have enough room for growth and sustainable work with the stack. So to us, let me put it that way. I feel like, again, that jointly we can do way more than as if it would be Cloudical alone. So there is, again, no hesitation in making those plans and in executing them. Currently, it's more like a question of preparation and a question of doing the transformation properly. So it will take a little time. We expect it to last 3 to 6 months. So either end of the year or beginning of next year, we will have the foundation set up, and we will have it then transferred and donored to the foundation.
Okay. Thank you. Do you want to add anything?
My pleasure. Yeah, I want to add something. I again invite everybody to participate in that, and I invite everybody to register for VanillaStack. We will make it available around the 15th of September. Until then, we will definitely already be able to show some preview versions, demo versions, and so on and so forth. So please register. Be the first to be informed there. And then again, don't forget to contribute. Tell us your opinion. Give us your ideas. Tell us where we can improve this stack, because it is not our thing. It is a thing of and for the community.
Okay. I hope everybody's listening. Thank you for joining, and thank you for watching the interview. Thank you for the interview.
My pleasure.
And see you next time.
Thanks for having me. See you later.
Bye.